Both Linux and Windows have their benefits and weaknesses. While Windows remains the dominant operating system, the popularity of Linux has increased over the years as it has evolved into a user-friendly operating system with powerful features. This video explores why you might want to consider switching to Linux. Linux has a much smaller market share of 4% compared to Windows at 70%. The main reason Windows is much more popular than Linux is due to its pre-installation and familiarity. Most computers come with Windows pre-installed, making it the default choice. Computers rarely come pre-installed with Linux, as the demand for Linux is not high enough for PC manufacturers to justify it as the default operating system. The demand for Linux is mainly from professionals and developers who install it themselves by creating a bootable USB drive or DVD. Also, most users are already familiar with Windows and have used it for years, making the switch to other operating systems, like Linux, challenging. The security of both operating systems depends on what they're used for, but Linux is generally considered more secure than Windows. Today, most malware is written for Windows because it's more widely used than Linux. Also, most Linux software comes from centralized, trusted repositories, which reduces the risk of downloading malware from random websites. While Linux is less vulnerable to malware, that doesn't mean it's completely immune. Malware written for Linux can still be a threat, even though it's rare. For users concerned about their privacy, Linux is a good alternative. Linux doesn't collect as much usage data to improve the operating system, like Windows does. Some Linux distributions may collect usage data, but it's easier to disable this, and it's more transparent compared to the default settings and data collection practices of Windows 10 and 11. Linux is designed for advanced users who like more control over their operating system. There are many Linux distributions, each offering a different set of tools, desktop environments, and pre-configured settings. Also, Linux is open source, meaning its source code is freely available for anyone to modify and adapt. This allows for deep customization and the ability to create personalized distributions. Unlike Linux, Windows is closed source and limited to basic customization options, like themes and wallpapers. Linux is a better choice for developers. It works better for programming and scripting, and is often the default operating system for web servers. Its set of command line tools and built-in utilities gives developers more control over their system and allows tasks to be automated more efficiently. Linux generally uses fewer system resources than Windows, making it run better on older or lower-end hardware. This makes it a good alternative for users wanting to extend the life of older hardware. Linux doesn't come with pre-installed bloatware and has fewer background processes, making it less likely to slow down over time. Also, system updates are usually lighter and less disruptive. Linux distributions often allow you to choose when and which updates to install, and many updates can be applied without requiring a system reboot. However, the performance difference between Windows and Linux may not be noticeable for resource-intensive tasks, like modern gaming. While Linux offers many benefits over Windows, it isn't perfect and may not always be the best alternative. Some programs, like Microsoft Office, Visual Studio, Notepad+, and Adobe Creative Suite, are not compatible with Linux. Workarounds, like VirtualBox, can help, but they can lead to performance issues on older computers. If you choose the right Linux distribution, it can be user-friendly, but Linux still presents a steeper learning curve compared to Windows. The command line interface and the structure of Linux can be challenging for beginners to understand. However, this learning curve can be overcome by online resources and community support. While the Linux community can be very active and helpful, finding professional technical support is more challenging compared to Windows. Linux mostly relies on online forums and specialized communities for support, while Windows has more readily available official support channels, such as live chat and phone. Whether Linux is the best alternative to Windows depends on the use case. For developers, Linux is often the best alternative. It offers a more customizable and efficient environment for coding, especially for tasks related to web development, server management, and working with different programming languages. For general everyday use, Linux is a good alternative if you value privacy, customization options, and speed, and don't depend on Windows-specific software. For gaming, professional creative work, or Windows-specific tools, Linux is probably not a good alternative. Not all games and graphic design software are compatible with Linux, and some may require workarounds or tweaks, which might not be ideal for everyone. If you want to stay up to date with more insightful content like this, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. To receive notifications whenever our channel posts new content, you can also click on the bell icon.